What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and file this away in your memory bank next time somebody really needs to raise funds. This is another perfect example of GoFundMe's ideological inconsistencies in probably one of the most vile GoFundMes that they allowed on their platform, one of the most contradictory they've ever allowed. Look, I understand people need support, need help, and you want to help them. I don't think it's unreasonable to tell somebody, hey, I want to support you. Can you please open up alternatives? Maybe it's a PayPal link, or it's Give, Send, Go if they fix all their problems, or it's buying merch or something like that. People should never, ever, ever use GoFundMe ever again. Now, if you remember a few weeks ago, the corner store owner, the bodega guy, who was literally just defending himself, GoFundMe removed a fundraiser that was to help gather funds for him to defend himself legally from something he should never have had to defend. Well, now, if you're watching the whole thing play out in Minnesota, you have the woman, GoFundMe allows, at the time, a GoFundMe now, nearly $20,000 raised, a GoFundMe for a man who fired on a woman and her two kids, initially outpacing the victim. Now remember that GoFundMe has said repeatedly that they do not allow these type of fundraisers on their platform. If you go back, GoFundMe, this is just last week, ladies and gentlemen, GoFundMe deletes the page for NYC clerk who protected himself. GoFundMe has deleted the legal defense fund set up for the hardworking man who had to protect himself and saw himself locked up at Rikers in exchange on a whopping $250,000 bond. Relatives immediately launched a GoFundMe page to help raise funds to cover his sky-high bail and legal fees after he was hit with a ridiculous charge, but the page was mysteriously removed Wednesday night. Quote, our terms of service prohibit fundraising for the legal defense of a terrible crime. At this time, the fundraiser has been removed and all donors have been refunded. We also saw this with Kyle back in the day. They took, they wouldn't let anybody fundraise on him. And again, that's just for defending against it. You haven't actually been found guilty of it. It's just for your defense. Well, GoFundMe currently has, and the fundraiser is still up. By the way, the single mom and survivor of this guy's behavior now has $54,000 raised. And by the way, I don't think throwing money is necessarily the best solution for everything, but sometimes people want to help, and it's maybe the only thing you can do at the time. GoFundMe now has allowed $20,000 raised for, again, somebody who was firing indiscriminately into a woman's home who sat there with her two kids scared out of her mind. A GoFundMe account for a Minnesota man who, well, we already know, by Saturday morning, more than $15,000 was raised for the 20-year-old who lost an incident with PD after an hours-long standoff, which includes the 20-year-old reportedly also firing on police. Sundberg, according to his family, was experiencing a, quote, mental health crisis when he fired into the apartment of a 24-year-old woman and her two children. Her GoFundMe page only raised $2,000 on Saturday, outpaced by him at the time. Now, I don't know what she needs money for. People gotta just dial back, just pouring money onto things. I guess she lost her job, though, so I forgot about that part. So I suppose. The GoFundMe for the Perpetrator now has over $15,000, outraising the person on the receiving end, a single mother who hid with her two sons in her bedroom, as lead flew through the walls in her apartment. Independent photojournalist Rebecca Brannon announced Saturday 2 Minneapolis PD snipers did their jobs. You see this picture. Oh, he's so artistic. He was just having a mental health incident. He was just a good boy who didn't do anything wrong. And then you see these pictures. I think that's a large bag of herb, as well as 2 pew-pews. This one, Cassandra writes, this man tried to end me and my African-American kids because he had some sort of mental illness and stalking behavior, and you guys want to say it's the police. He intentionally tried to end us. I don't even know how this man, black or white, he had enough time and responsibility to take ownership. Now, if me and my kids wouldn't have survived, y'all protest for me outside my building? Race has nothing to do with it. He was completely wrong and armed. The man, this is the man or the woman who was fired upon by him. This is yet another, perfect example of just, I did a little short reaction to, this woman, here's her house, photos, you can see, this isn't just like a few holes. This is right in the bathroom. You see at least 1, 2, the broken mirror. You got a couple of, a hole in, what is that, a bottle of hairspray? So that's a third. These were a lot of impact. Look at the door. 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5 holes in the door. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually 6 holes in the door. I don't know how many here in the middle. Could be another couple. This is the person that everybody's out in the street acting the fool for. Now, look, I think that obviously we've seen everything that happened in Texas, and we've seen, certain situations not handled well and sometimes outright handled incorrectly. But when you rush to the streets and you're pouring money on this stuff, he was a brother, uncle, a son, a talented artist, hilarious, energetic human, and his life was taken too soon by the police department. What? You're joking, right? You're joking, right? I mean, and you have people like Ben Crump. This is the guy, Minnesota PD, ended him as loving and artistic 20-year-old. Now we want to talk about mental health, huh? We don't want to talk about it when these idiots are going into schools or whatever, but now we want to talk about it. Is that it? Just getting ruthlessly ratioed too. 1,400 replies to 194. You could see all the holes in the walls and in the windows. This looks like at least 20 rounds. I think I'll listen to the woman with 2 small children that he was firing on. Thanks, Ben. Go find another crisis to grift off of. She also asked, by the way, where were all these people when he was alive and on the wrong path? I can't believe PD would take care of this guy. He was only trying to end a mother and her 2 children as a form of performance art. You could see you wouldn't even know the story if Sean Fitzgerald, AJW writes, you wouldn't even know the story if he had ended her and her kids, and my kids have to see you celebrate the man who tried to end them. This is like, these are such devastating quotes to the pro losers. Protesters have went from businesses have insurance, they'll be fine, to it's just your apartment that has bullet holes. At least there's no bullet holes in you. These people are like going after this woman in her car with her kids because what? They want a little social media clout? I don't really understand it, to be honest with you. I'm very confused. And the fact that GoFundMe has allowed this fundraiser to exist on here is absurd. It's like, it's the double standard is absolutely hilarious. Obviously, this is a more serious topic, so no memes on this video and whatnot. And I do appreciate everyone who has supported Coffee Brand Coffee. If you're looking for a delicious coffee, tea, or cocoa, please check out my company, coffeebrandcoffee.com. We have cold brews. We have organic, all organic, 6 organic teas. We have 6 coffee blends. We're expanding almost weekly. Definitely take a second to check us out. Support the channel and get some delicious coffee, tea, or cocoa. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.